Ghosts, spirits, poltergeists, demons. Do they exist? Is there life after life? Are there unseen entities around us? Can they communicate? Do you believe? What happens in the shadows doesn't always stay in the shadows. Live from Northwest Georgia, covering the region and beyond, this is Georgia Paranormal Radio. And now, here's your host, Mike Watkins.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Georgia Paranormal Radio. This is your host, Mike Watkins, and we'd like to welcome you to episode number 17, the EVP Special for the month of January. And of course, joining me this week for our EVP Special is the very man who collected most, if not all of these, David Westbrooks. Welcome, David.
Hey, how are you, Mike?
Oh, happy to be here, trying to stay warm, because it is friggin' cold outside.
That is a hard thing to do right now.
You know, it's, wow. I even turned the heat on for you guys when you come up here. I normally don't turn the heat on for myself, and it's still cold.
Well, don't think it's not unappreciated because it's cold outside.
Yes, it is. Well, other than the weather, what's been going on, David? We got some EVPs for folks tonight.
Yeah, well, I think we got, 8, 9, somewhere around through there that we're going to throw out to them?
Close to that, yeah, and I've been working on getting some guests.
Yeah, and I think you might have scored a good one on this one.
Oh, yeah, we'll save that for the end of the show, who's going to be on next week. We're actually going to kind of bump Cindy Westbrooks for 1 week and have a special guest on here, and hopefully Cindy will forgive me and put the gun down. So, anyway, this is our EVP special for January, and we really don't have much to talk about in the way of team news or events. We would like to talk about our EVP training seminar that's coming up. I've actually started calling around and trying to figure out how to reserve a place for us to have that.
Hopefully reserve a large enough place. I'm hoping a lot of people will show up to this thing.
As am I. And been working on a couple of graphics for the laptop for it. And trying to make sure that my software on the laptop can handle a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, if we got enough people in the close enough area that can get to it, I mean, we've got a lot of interested people that listen to the program and have actually sent in emails wanting to know how we do this, how we do that.
Right.
And, this will be a little one-on-one session, which it'll get us to meet the people that's listening to our radio program and show us a little bit more respect toward them, I guess you could say. You can say thank you 1,000 times, but unless it's in person, it really don't mean anything.
You're right. And speaking of thank yous, before we get off our topic, Mike Duke.
Yeah, Mike's a good fella. He's a devoted listener. He writes in every week, just about. And anytime that we do put a program up, he's always the first one to send an email. And we just want to say hi and thank you very much for listening and for being as big a fan as what you are.
Absolutely. And, of course, that was my neighborhood car going by, which, Mike, you can appreciate. We've had this conversation via email. So, and I hope that razor's found soon, buddy. He knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, back to the EVP training class. Yeah, we're doing it as a way to get information out. We're doing it as a way to meet people in the paranormal community. We're doing it as a way to just hopefully expand the field and get people out there with those recorders. Not necessarily out there with those recorders, because you can get plenty of good recordings in your own home sometimes.
Well, public understanding, that's what it's all about.
And what else have we got? MySpace pages.
Oh, yeah. I have spent probably, I don't know how many hours working on mine, trying to get mine up and make it look presentable. This is my first effort at trying to build a page, and the MySpace thing was a good place to try it at. So, I've got a good page now, I believe.
Absolutely.
It's starting to look like I want it to look. Of course, there's going to be a few more tweaks, but we can we can work on that a little bit at a time. But the main thing is putting the information on it to throw it out there for everybody to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I've done a lot of web pages. I mean, having the website, because we're up to like 22, 23 pages on the website.
Well, if it hadn't been for you this past week and me bothering you in the afternoon,
well,
I would have never got one of the things loaded and beginning to wonder whether I was or not.
God bless the semicolons.
You ain't kidding. I ain't never wanted to shoot something so bad in my life as semicolons.
Yeah, semicolons and HTML, folks. If you don't do web design, you have no clue how HTML hates a semicolon.
Well, if you go on my site on MySpace, you'll see where I got the web design from. Highly recommend these people, and I'm not going to go into it over the program, just because that's not what we're here for. But go into MySpace page and look.
Hold on, now wait a second, David. Wouldn't it technically, instead of saying MySpace page, shouldn't you actually say go to my MySpace page? It sounds like you have a stutter, but shouldn't
you got me confused. I don't know. Is it Bigfoot or Big Feet?
Both.
Okay.
Neither, because they don't exist.
Okay. But if you want to go into my MySpace page, make you happy there, Mike.
Are you stuttering, David? What?
I'll have a speech impediment. I can't help it.
Yes, indeed.
But if you want to go into MySpace and look for my page on the MySpace account, go to www.myspace / old
MySpace.com.
MySpace.com. Anyway, whether it's my MySpace or MySpace on MySpace, whichever one it may be, go to www.myspace.com / to the old Archer, TheOldArcher, and that'll get you to my MySpace page. I've got a few photographs on it that we've taken from this past year. I haven't got any EVPs on it yet because I ain't technically figured out how I could do that, even if I wanted to.
I don't know either.
I just, because when you talking about putting in computer programming and everything else onto it, I'm out there. I'm computer illiterate. I ain't got a clue. But if we can, I'm going to. If we can, we're going to. We're going to put some EVPs on it, and hopefully be throwing out some information off that page that will keep you interested.
Absolutely. And my MySpace page is, of course, myspace.com / NWGAPIT. And actually, I guess you could actually look me up by, well, my screen name changes so often. I can't figure out how I want to address myself on there. Do I want to do it as the group? Do I want to do it as the radio program? Or do I just want to be Mike Watkins?
Well, now, the way that I've got mine, I've got it listed down as Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team is the way I've got mine set up.
Mine currently right now says Georgia Paranormal Radio.
Yeah. And so, we're advertising both, so that works out great. Plus, we got a clickable link going to our webpage on there.
On both sides.
On both sides.
Yeah, on mine, there's actually a link to the message boards, the home site, the radio site, and Lord, who knows? I don't know how many websites I tie together.
Well,
4 or 5.
I hope you like the music from Evanescence, because that's what I've got on mine as an intro. So I hope you like them. If you don't, hopefully you will before you leave.
Yeah, and mine's Justin Timberlake, because I'm bringing sexy back.
Oh God.
Yeah. This is what sexy is, folks. In my own little mind.
I really, really worry about you at times, Mike. I really do.
Well, the medication's wearing off, Dave.
Yeah, if you get some more, let me have some, because I probably need some too.
Lithium. We need it.
Oh.
I'm telling you. Well, all right. Before we go off on another goofy tangent, I guess we need to start talking EVPs, don't we?
That's what we come here for, so I guess we need to get started.
Yeah. Got 8 or 9 for you tonight. And, we didn't have any takers on the Mystery of the Month last month.
Well, it's a new thing. Everybody's not used to it yet. Some people are a little bit shy to get out there and state what they think. So we're going to try it again this month. We're going to have another Mystery of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
And, we want your input. We want to know what you think it is. That's the whole reason that we're calling it a mystery. Because me and Mike have already made up our minds about what it sounds like to us.
Right.
But we want to know what it sounds like to you. Give us your opinion. Tell if it sounds like gibberish, say it sounds like gibberish.
Yeah.
But we want to know.
And this month, of course, we're going to play it that'll be at the end of the EVP show. But let me go ahead and give you some tips, or a tip, I should say, about this Mystery of the Month EVP for January. Listen to it forward, but then play it backwards.
Actually, you can play it either way and get something out of it.
Yeah. Backwards surprised me.
Well, I got in a hurry and I didn't realize that the reverse of it had a message in it also until you brought it to my attention earlier today.
Yeah. I'm a freak about reversing things. I mean, just here lately, I've got to where I reverse everything.
Well, just about everything I do, I will reverse it just to see what is in it. But I think it was the day before yesterday you and I talked. I was trying to get up all these EVPs, ready to get them ready for the program. And Lord help me, I was on number 13.
Oh, God.
And if you're superstitious like I am, 13's not a good place to be. So I had to go out and try to capture a couple of more just to get off that 13 mark. And the ones that I did get after that, I did not play them in reverse to see if there was anything there.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Yes.
Fear of the number 13.
Well, I'm superstitious. I can't help it. I don't walk under ladders, and
Well, that's just common sense.
if you knock salt down, you got to throw it over your left shoulder.
Never done that. Never heard that one.
It's just superstitions.
No, I like superstitions. They're fun. Well, all right. So let's. I guess what we'll do is play a couple of EVPs here for you and talk a little bit, give our commentary, and then we'll pay the bills. Which, again, I'm still just paying myself back and forth. It's weird. I get confused.
But you're never broke that way.
I know.
You always owe yourself money.
It's weird. It's very strange. So, if you know any advertisers, you want to do advertising, for the love of God, help me in my confusion. There's a little FAQ, frequently asked questions, on the message board about how to be an advertiser. But the gist of it is you get a minute to a minute and a half on each episode for like $5 a month.
Which is cheap.
Oh, yeah. So you're looking at 5-6 minutes of airtime a month for $5.
Even if you bought it for 12 months out of the year, that's still cheap
Dirt
for
cheap.
advertising.
Don't care what you say.
Well,
I do, but
don't go that far.
yeah, I do care what you say, but
They may say that you look funny,
I do.
which I may not disagree with them on that.
Well,
but
I do
we
look
don't want
funny.
them to say that.
I have extreme male pattern baldness going on here lately. It seems
Well,
stress. It's awful.
Only half.
The half that counts. The rest I cut short. I'd like to have the up front going
Well,
there.
at least you hadn't got a landing spot on top of your head like I do for flies. I mean,
Have you seen my top of my head there, David?
well, okay, so we're building a landing strip up there too, but I have one also, so don't feel so bad.
Also, if you want to send in donations to the Watkins to Pay Fund,
Yeah.
I would certainly appreciate it because I look horrible. I'm deformed.
I'm a firm believer that if my hair falls out, I'm just going to be bald. I'm not going to throw no rug on top of my head.
I got a lumpy head, though. It's weird. I've been hit in the head too many times. As you good people can obviously tell.
Obviously, and so have I.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, EVPs. Where do we get off on toupees at?
I don't know. I'm just following you.
Oh, that's a mistake. All right, this first EVP we're going to play is, this comes from, I guess it was a neighbor of yours, wasn't it? Is this where this come from?
Well, actually, the first couple is going to come from a neighbor that lives 2 doors down from me. Just to fill you in a little bit, try to let you know what was going on that night. I'm sitting at the house, me and my wife are, and we're minding our own business. And about 10:30, the phone rings, and my neighbor is on the other end of the phone. And they're saying, which they just recently had a death in the family. They're saying on the telephone, says this person that was deceased is sitting in the car outside. Well, of course, normally, you either do one or two things. You either scream through the house running, or you go outside to look, see, hey, can I see that?
Yeah, really.
So they told me to bring my camera over, and me and my wife, Cindy, bless her heart, she ain't scared of nothing either. She grabs a tape recorder, and we go outside, and I actually take a couple of photographs of the car sitting outside, listen to the story that the next door neighbor's children and herself had to tell me. And this was like the second sighting they'd had in 2 nights. And since then, there's actually been more than that. Some on the inside of the residence and still some outside in the car.
Sweet.
And while I took photographs and went back to the house to download the pictures, my wife Cindy run a tape recorder, actually sat down on the inside of the car and around the outside of the car, and we actually got 2 or 3 EVPs while we were standing there around this car.
Right.
So the next two that or actually the first two that you're going to hear are from an actual ghost sighting that occurred beside my residence with our neighbors, and 2 of the EVPs that came from the recording.
Well, that sounds like a good intro to me, so let's just fire off the first one here. Okay, David, that's who is that?
That's what it sounds like to me. It's basically an inquisitive question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who is that? And I think it was because Cindy was so close to the car. And one of the interesting things about this car was in the back seat, on the passenger side window, you could actually see a spot on the window, and it wasn't as cold as it is outside now. It was chilly. I mean, it was in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But on the inside of this car was like a breath spot on the window, where it looked like something had been up against the window breathing on the inside. This EVP actually came where my wife was standing on the outside of the car while we were looking at what appeared to be that breath mark on the window.
Okay. Breathing. Ghost breathing. That's strange.
Well, it's a temperature change.
It is a temperature change.
Temperature change, and it was extremely warm in the car. You know, my wife, bless her heart, she's here tonight. She's extremely under the weather. She don't feel well, but it was extremely warm in that car, was it not, Cindy? And she's shaking her head. She, bless her heart, she don't feel well. But
yeah.
it was
warm like the heater had been on, and it had been at least 2 hours since anybody had been in the car.
yeah.
Wow.
So you know, condensation, breath mark, whatever you want to call it. There was an area that appeared to be some type of temperature change that was on the window.
Inside the car.
Inside the car.
Sweet. Now, this is from that same event, and it's another question. I guess the next, the first half of the EVPs we're going to do tonight are all questions. So here's the next one from that sighting event right now. Okay, can't you just stay? That's what I'm getting out of it. Now, folks, these are, I forgot to put this in before we started on this. Some of these are going to be Class Bs.
Yeah.
Anyone who's not familiar with the classification system of EVPs, review previous EVP shows.
Well,
Because
basically,
we've talked about it, but
in a nutshell, Class A, there's no argument. Just about everybody can tell what it says.
mm-hmm.
Class B, it's open for interpretation. You know, the biggest majority of people will hear the same thing, but, you know, there may be several out there that may hear something different.
Right.
And, of course, Class C is up for grabs. You know, it's anybody's guess about what is actually being said, but you can tell that it's a human speech pattern.
Yeah, that was a good explanation. So now this one says, can't you stay? To the best of my understanding. That's what I get out of it.
Well, the EVP, again, came from the ghost sighting in the vehicle that night. Cindy was running the tape recorder, and the person that actually was the daughter of the person that passed away was standing outside along with my wife, and I'm not really sure if it was directed toward Cindy or if it was actually directed toward the daughter.
Right.
It may have actually been directed toward her because once they got through doing the EVP thing, they were going to go in the house. Of course, they ended up coming over to my house. The photographs that I took did actually show what appeared to be an entity sitting in the front driver's side seat.
Yeah, man, I've seen those photos, and you can see it.
Yeah,
It's very weird.
They stayed at my house for about 35 minutes, and we went over the EVP footage from the tape recorder along with the photographs, and you know, we still may have an investigation coming up out of this.
Yes. This next EVP, we'll just play it and then we'll talk about it. David, will you help me? Or David, will you help me out? Or now? Or something. It's one of those Class Bs. I can get David, will you help me?
Right.
I can't get that last word. It sounds like a 3 or 4 letter word. Nothing vulgar, of course, but do you remember where you got this one? I know David goes out and collects a lot of EVPs, folks. David collects EVPs while he's sleeping, just about.
No, I don't collect them while I'm sleeping. I hear a lot of them in my sleep.
Oh, that's strange. Well, you collect EVP while your children are sleeping, though.
Yeah, I have done that.
That's true.
I have done that.
So anyway, this do you remember where you got this one, or is this just one of those gems in the collection?
It's just one of the ones from the collection. I can't tell you exactly for sure where that came from. I do a lot of EVP research at several different places on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the entities at these locations feel like, for whatever reason, that they are trapped there, that they cannot get out or
Right.
leave. And I actually, next to the Get Out 101 handbook, that is being the most popular EVP that we get, the Will You Help Me is starting to be a close second, if not a close runner-up for first place.
Yes.
I get a lot of messages about wanting help, and a lot of them, I believe, are related to several of the places that I go where the entities feel like they're trapped and they can't leave.
This one put me in mind of the ones I've heard that you and I have both gotten from the train.
Yeah.
And of course, that it may very well be. It may be 20 miles away, but it could be.
Well, it's like I've always said, and I'll stand by this position till the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who wants to rebuke it. If an entity wants to get you a message, and you've got a tape recorder handy, they are able to speak with you whether you're 100 miles away from them, or if they're 5 feet away from you.
Right.
If they want to get a message across to you, they will.
Yes, I agree.
And I've had more than one experience, and where we've gotten EVPs from entities that I believe were on the train,
Mm-hmm.
and we would be in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And even a couple of times we went to, I think we got off on this one time or another, we went to the aquarium in Atlanta.
Right.
And I carried a tape recorder with me down there. But I even got some EVPs in Atlanta that I associate with this train.
Right.
So if they really want to get a message across, they will.
Absolutely. And like David said, the get out's got to be the number one. Some variation of get out, leave us alone, whatever, has got to be the number one response you get when doing EVPs or investigating. The number two, you're right, would have to be help us. Speaking of, listen to this. Okay, again, this time not your name, but will you help us?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. I believe it's actually the origin of this is starting up at a couple of locations that we've been to where they feel like they're trapped, and they're still wanting out. They're wanting help.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this next EVP is this is just some commentary. I guess the questions are over. And now this is just some commentary that you picked up from whoever might have been there. So,
and actually very clear commentary.
yes, this is very clear.
This is a borderline Class A, if not just over the boundaries of a Class A just a little bit.
Yes, so let me go ahead and play this for the good folks, and we'll talk about it in a second. Well, yeah, they're right. You can hear them.
Yeah,
In a way.
and it goes back to my argument about entities can interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They can communicate with each other, and basically, I think it's an entity telling another one that was present in a room, that he thinks that I can hear him.
Right. And there were some other things on here, too. They were real low Class Bs or Class Cs that we're not going to play, but there were other conversations between entities He's right behind us.
Yes.
Just comments about
Now-
the investigator.
Now, the he's right behind us I thought was a pretty good EVP.
It was, yeah. I couldn't amplify it well enough and convert it over.
Well,
There was some distortion to it when I tried to convert it over to my file format system.
well, it wasn't actually human style speech. It was more of that whine, sort of mechanical tone, I
Right.
guess you would call it. But I mean, the words are fairly well clear. It just, I don't guess it actually would clean up real nice because of the way it was generated, I guess.
Right. Now, if anybody wants to hear that, you can just email me, and I'll be happy to send it off to you.
Yeah, it's
I'll be happy to send it to anybody who wants to hear it, or any of these. If you want a master copy of these files, heck, just let me know. Heck, I'll mail them off to you. It may take about 4 or 5 emails to get them through, because the way I do these is enhance them up from 20 and 30 kilobyte sound files to broadcast quality, which is near 500 kilobytes per file.
Yeah, but when you start sending something over the email like that too, you're going to lose a lot of resolution.
Yes, you are. Yes, you
a
are.
lot. And
Um,
what might start out sounding absolutely great once you send it over email, you know, it loses a lot of quality.
Well,
Which, you
there's,
know, I don't mind spending a quarter for a stamp. Well, I guess they're a little higher than a quarter
yeah,
now. But
39.41
you
cents.
can tell how long it's been since I mailed a letter, but I don't have a problem with spending 39 cents for a stamp and mailing you a CD of it.
Yeah, and yeah, I wouldn't mind chipping in on that either.
Matter of fact, done that about a week ago.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. Did you actually get a response to that? And
I'm not sure if Ron from GPI has actually had a chance to sit down and listen to it yet. The last email communication I had with him was that he had received the CD and that he had to find a time in order to sit down and listen to it. I'm hoping that he will side with me. And what we're basically talking about, give you an idea, so you're not in the dark here. The bathtub experiment that we done a couple of weeks ago, actually about a month ago now. We had a excerpt on it from one of our shows of EVPs, where it sounds like human voices in along with the water draining and everything.
right,
Several people, including Ron at this point, is agreeing with my wife that said that there's more of a possibility that it's matrixing other than actually human speech. So, you know, standing my ground, I sent Ron a copy of a CD, and actually sent him a copy. I think it was 3 separate experiments, 3 different dates that I'd done this, just to give him to something to compare by.
right.
And I haven't heard from Ron yet. I don't know exactly if he's had a chance to listen to it, or if he has, if he still thinks that it's probably matrixing, or if he's going to lean toward my side. But, I'm patiently waiting. I hope to hear from him soon.
And by the way, hi Ron. I got your email, by the way. I just hadn't actually had time to respond yet. But hi, I appreciate you emailing me frequently too with feedback. Ron
does.
is a big supporter of this show.
And if you look on the forum page of our website, Ron's a pretty regular on there.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And we appreciate Ron.
Much appreciated.
And appreciate his group. They're the ones, his group, Dan, I think, is their leader, and they're the ones who invited us down to the prison investigation.
Yeah, I didn't get to go on that.
But you didn't get to go.
Didn't get to go.
So, anyway, that was a good one. Several episodes back, you'll hear about it. Gosh, I think that was one of our first 3 or 4 episodes that we did.
Wasn't very long after you started
So-
the Georgia Paranormal Radio.
He's been a listener since the beginning,
Yeah.
I guess. Wow.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Ron. And
17 episodes ago.
17 episodes. Man, you have some patience, I'm telling you. God bless you. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause for a little commercial break. I'm going to wet my whistle and stretch my feet because they're asleep. And, hey, we'll be back after you hear this commercial or two. Hey, folks, Mike Watkins here. Many of you know me as the host of Georgia Paranormal Radio, but I'm also the founder and general manager of the Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team, which is an anchoring sponsor of this program. The Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team was founded back in 2004 as a scientifically based research and documentation team. This investigative group has over 17 years of combined experience in dealing with the paranormal, and the unique perspectives and specialties that each member investigator contributes really gives you the full package. You can trust the Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team to thoroughly, yet discreetly and confidentially, investigate and document any paranormal phenomenon that you may be experiencing. The Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team serves a large area of North Georgia, North Alabama, and even Southeast Tennessee. As always, their time and services are 100% free of charge. All they ask for is an invitation from you to let them investigate those cold spots, bumps in the night, or anything else paranormal. And contacting them couldn't be any easier either. Just go to www.nwgapit.com and check them out. The Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team, proudly bringing you Georgia Paranormal Radio and proudly investigating what you fear. In 2006, the number of people in the United States was an estimated 299 million, and approximately 205 million of those people were online. Now let's suppose that just 1% or 2 million of those people listen to internet radio or podcasts. Let's further suppose that just 1% of that 1% are interested in the paranormal and listen to this program. That would be 20,000 listeners or potential customers hearing about your product, service, or website on every broadcast. The Northwest Georgia Paranormal Investigation Team and Georgia Paranormal Radio are homegrown organizations with a regional and now worldwide footprint. Trust us to promote your product, service, or website just like it was our own. Your success is our success. With rates at only $5 a month, guaranteed exposure on every broadcast, and no long-term commitments if you aren't completely satisfied, you can't go wrong. Can you afford not to advertise with us? For further information, email Mike Watkins at mike@nwgapit.com. All right, welcome back from the commercial break, everybody, and thank you for joining us for episode 17. This is, again, the EVP Special for January, and with me is special guest David Westbrooks, and we're going to dive right into 4 more EVPs here, and then we're going to tell you who our guest for next week's going to be. It's going to be sweet.
Yep.
So, if things don't fall through, which I may have a little commentary about that also. Lord love it. So this next EVP comes from the Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park.
Your favorite place.
My favorite place. Comes from the grave of John Ingram.
Yeah, interesting place. We've actually got several good EVPs off this gravesite.
Separately. You know, you and I have never been there together.
Actually, we haven't, have we?
And, you know, each time I go there, I get something. Each time you go there, you get something. I guess we both need to go and see if we can just get the thing to pop right out.
Well, I think the best one you got was about 2 months ago. It was on your cell phone that you got it on.
Yeah, yeah.
And the first one I had was actually before yours. And it was the voice, and we played it on the EVP Special.
Right.
Voice of a woman very sorrowfully saying, "No one in his grave."
Yeah. Now, you're talking about the one I got from up there that was talking about "Get out of here, you don't."
Right.
That actually, that's been almost 8 months ago.
But that was probably the best EVP that you've gotten off that gravesite.
It's probably the best EVP I've ever gotten.
The one where the woman was so sorrowful saying that there was no one in his grave, which I didn't realize it until you brought it to my attention.
Right.
That the body had actually been moved from the gravesite.
Yeah, there is
didn't
no
have
body
a clue.
in that grave. There really is no body in the grave.
She was actually being informative.
Yes.
Very informative, which I didn't have a clue about.
Yeah. So anyway, Chickamauga, Chattanooga National Military Park. That's a long one to get out. Anyway, this comes from John Ingram's grave, and well, listen to this. All right, now that's it's a little low. But it does say my boy said he'd come back.
Yeah, and again, it's a female, older female.
Yes.
And very sorrowful voice. My boy said that he'd come back, and I'm taking it. It may not be directed, straight at Mr. Ingram.
Right.
But I think it's the spirit of a woman who lost a son in that engagement.
Exactly.
And her son never returned to her.
And the thing that I gather from the accent of the voice, and yes, there is an accent to the voice.
Yes.
This was a Southern woman.
Yeah, that's what I took it as too.
I really did. This was a Confederate mother.
And the area that Ingram's grave is, if I'm not wrong, was part of the Confederate skirmish line.
Yes, one of the primary Confederate battle lines.
Yeah, so it's it's not unfeasible that it's a mother looking for her child that didn't return from this war.
Absolutely, because I mean, a lot of people down here didn't take up arms until the Yankees got right up on us.
And let's face it, there was enough people killed up. There's more people killed up there than smallpox has done.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was a bunch of people died up there.
30-something thousand people.
And for a long time, there was a lot of bodies laid in those fields up there without being moved.
Yes.
Because they didn't, the North had retreated, and they didn't come back to pick up their dead.
Right.
So.
And who had the time? There was a war going on.
And it's like they say at Fort Oglethorpe, some of the law enforcement up there. Sometimes strange things happen, but we can't talk about it.
I've heard that before. Oh, how I've heard that before. All right, now this next EVP comes from, well, that cemetery that remains nameless.
Last week's investigation.
Yeah, the one where the police came up on us and prompted episode 16. Now, to me, and we need some feedback from you here too, because I hear two different things. It depends on how I listen to it.
By the way, this is going to be a Class C.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Class C.
So it's very subjective. So here, just listen to this, and then I'll tell you what I think I hear. David can comment on it, but here you go. Okay, now, if you listen with one ear, it sounds like I miss you. Now, this is a man's voice. This is a man's voice, kind of an older sounding man. But you can also hear I'm in here, the way I heard it. Now, maybe that's just the medication wearing off. I don't know.
No, actually, the I miss you, I heard.
Okay.
And there was something at the end of it, but my ears bust my heart. I'm 46 years old. I'm getting old. And my ears are not the best that they used to be anymore, so I just couldn't make that part out.
Well, you blast your ears with EVP constantly anyway. So.
Yeah, I probably I spend more time with a set of earphones on my ear than I do without them. So.
Yeah. Now, but so that's a Class C, and it's kind of open to interpretation. But hey, it was a capture, and depending on what you think it is, there you go. Now, this one comes from a close source.
Yeah, it comes from here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is from episode 15.
It was a couple of episodes back where we were interrupted by a car crash.
Yeah, car going through somebody's yard and blah, blah, blah.
And, of course, we run outside to see the blood and mayhem. No, actually, we went outside to look and see if there was anything we could do. We didn't know if anybody was injured or not.
Right.
We kept hoping, but unfortunately they left the scene.
Right.
We were wanting to do a spontaneous investigation. Cindy was all keyed up about it.
Oh, yeah. She was ready.
Everybody got let down about that. But as we were getting ready to come back inside, is whenever this EVP was captured by a tape recorder.
Right.
That I left running in the office.
Right. So now, and like I said, the show was paused while we went out. I hit pause on the show. So this comes from a tape recorder that was running. So here you go. Okay. Yeah, I guess we were back in from being outside, weren't we?
Yeah, I think that was just basically a warning to everybody else that was in the house that we're back.
Yeah, and don't say everybody that's in the house, by the way. That's...
Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to unnerve you, but...
I need my stuffed dog Max now to hold on to during the night to sleep.
Well, you know my feelings on this. If you find one entity
You're
there's
going
going to be
a lot.
100.
You're
There's
right.
going to be 100.
It's like a cockroach.
There,
Oh,
there's,
now see, that was awful. I shouldn't have went there with it. But
there's entities that will communicate and that you can pick up, but there's also countless more that never speak, that never say anything, that unless, they do, you don't know is there.
Yeah.
So, and that's been evident on photographs that we've taken of ectoplasmic mist. If you see one entity in an ectoplasmic mist, you'll see 100.
You're right.
And I think they rely on each other in order to form, in order to communicate. I think they basically have their own little system set up.
Yes.
Their own little culture.
Yes. And, so it was a warning saying, hey, they're back in the house now. For those of you that don't want to get heard, shut up.
Yeah, either hurt or shut up, or, get out of our seats because we're coming back in and we need to sit down. One of the two.
Yes. All right. So now on to the mystery of the month. Folks, listen to this thing. Download the episode if you have to. Cut this out of the episode and play this son of a gun backwards.
Mike, you're talking about running this thing backwards and everything. There's going to be a lot of good people that listen to this program out there that don't have access to the software in order to download it, play it forward, and then reverse it and listen to it. So why don't we just play it forward 3 times, and then we'll play it backwards 3 times, and then when they send in what they think it's saying, they can send in what they think that both sets are saying.
Oh, okay.
Sort of a 2-for-1 money.
2 for
deal.
1. Well, that's a deal at twice the price.
Exactly.
So yeah, we'll do that. So here you go. Here's forward and 3 times, and then here's backwards 3 times. All right. Wow, that's a long stretch of clips, but anyway, there you go. 3 forward, 3 reverse. What do they say?
We want to know.
Yeah, we want to know. I know what I think it says, but I think there's something there. I think there's more there backwards than there is forward.
I think it sounds good either way.
Yeah.
I think you can get conversation out of either one of them.
Yes, you can.
But now, the reverse, I have to admit, you're probably going to get more of the reverse than what you do forward.
The scary thing is that when I was listening to it forward, my heart just jumped because I knew I had to play it backwards, because I could just tell, I guess from listening to so many things backwards, that there was going to be something there.
Well, see, that's what I said. I was on that magic number 13.
Yeah.
I didn't want to burn 13 EVPs onto a disc. Had to go out and get a couple of more to get off that 13.
Right.
So went out, caught a couple of more, come home, downloaded them, put them on the recording, and sent it to you. Didn't play it backwards, which is something I normally do.
Oh, yeah.
Something I normally do.
I enjoy it, though.
Yeah, if I have 30 minutes worth of audio, I'll play 30 minutes of audio reverse, just to see what's being said.
Just to see what's there. Well, okay. So we want to hear from you on that. A reminder about our MySpace pages. Be our little friends.
Oh, yeah.
You can be our little friends.
Yeah, we appreciate anything that you will do for us. Send us your MySpace page. Be our friends. We'll send you ours.
Mm-hmm. And I love, I've got, I guess the bottom 8 spaces on mine reserved for listeners of the show. So right now it's filled up, thank goodness. But I'm going to start rotating them out. Whenever a new listener makes me their friend, I'll rotate one of the older listeners out. We'll just keep rotating them around and around and around.
Well, that's fair.
But, yeah, I love having friends from the show, people who listen to the show. So do that, and David is on there. David's my number 1 friend on there. Imagine that.
Caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, it's a popularity contest, you know. All life is a popularity contest, it would seem. So anyway, you can click on David's link from my MySpace page, or, you know, go to his page directly, myspace.com/theoldarcher, or go to mine directly, myspace.com/NWGAPIT, and, hey, be our little friends. Next week, David, well, let me go into this commentary, this tirade first. God love the commentaries. Next
Lord.
week, we've got a guest coming. All of our previous guests have canceled. Don't know why. Don't know who's behind it.
Suspect.
I have a suspicion.
No point, no fingers, though.
Oh, no. But hopefully this guest will stick with us. And I'm going to go ahead and put him on the spot right now. It's well within my rights to announce who the guest is going to be before we have him, because it's scheduled.
I don't think we need to do that.
You don't want to tell me? You don't want me to say who the guest is going to be?
I think we need to wait.
You do?
Yeah, one is it'll be a surprise to the listening audience, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have suspicions about why some of these people have canceled out on us already.
Yeah.
And I really, 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 honestly hope that is not the case. I really do.
Right.
Because it would put a certain person in a light that I wouldn't like to see them in.
Right.
But I think we need to not say who it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And just give the listening audience a surprise.
It'll be worth it. Stay tuned.
But it's going to be a very, very interesting show.
Yes. Yes, this fella has a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of projects, and a lot of thoughts on the paranormal.
And a lot of respect.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As you can tell by his sales.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that then. I'll exercise silence instead of my right to announce it. Yeah. And hopefully he'll be on here next week. We'd like to thank you for joining us, though, for episode 17. And David, thanks for coming up. Thanks for doing the show.
More than welcome, Mike.
And hey, everybody, stay warm, stay safe, use a little common sense, be careful out there, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Good night, everybody.
Child, retire, protest, live wire, check up, smoke up. behind the curtain.